I'm alone in my apartment. That means I can do anything.
Oh God.
I'm alone in my apartment. That means I can do anything.
Okay, hang on a minute. I'm gonna show you this, right? Because it's relevant to the show, and I'll show you what we go posted on Reddit.
Okay. Oh God, I think I saw the beginning of this.
You saw this, right?
I think I saw one of these. There's more than one, isn't there? Or maybe I just saw the Chad head.
This is like the first canon one, like because the last one wasn't really done properly, and then this one is done in the actual art style.
Oh Lord.
Where do you go? Mary's just asking where does he go? Can you like not
Sure.
Can you try and like?
I can invite him to I can even give him a thing. Let me just invite him to the exact room. Wow, it's actually done in the...
Yes!
Oh God. Guess I'll go home and... What? Oh, well, I mean... Hey, Fernie, what's up? Fernie's been excited because he wanted to be at the last show and he didn't make it. So I know he's asked me. Hello, Melon. Thank you, Melon. I appreciate the fact that you're here to simp for me. Am I? I never thought that day would come, that I would be quiet.
Wow.
I've been
for once?
I know,
for
right?
Once?
For once.
Wow.
Dear Lord.
I came here to simp my friend. That's a really cute sentiment.
I know.
Right? Yeah. There we go. The man himself is here.
Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
Hi. All right. Yeah, if you put out the notice, I'm just wondering whether we should say something else, because I know we promoted earlier like last time, but then we had to cancel, so we didn't know how today was gonna go.
No, yeah,
so,
I didn't wanna do anything to
fix it.
Yeah. Hey, Mary, you good, buddy?
I'm good.
That's good.
That's good. Better than the last time, yeah.
I'm looking at my social blade.
Oh. Why? Is it?
I don't know.
Good things?
Yes, I'm getting an average of 2.8 thousand subscribers a day.
I mean, that's really good, actually.
Good. I'm kind of hoping I can reach 1 million this year. I'm starting to doubt it. Yeah.
No, you'll be fine.
Well, I mean, what, the YouTube side?
Yeah.
2.8K a day. Sweet. 1 million in a year, maybe like a year and a half tops at most. And that's like Mother's Basement numbers. You're doing fine, I think.
Yeah, considering how long the channel has actually been up, so yeah. So let's see if we got everything set up in place. Like just
I think
we're just waiting for people around us.
Pretty much, yeah. Hey, Faris, what's up? How are you? It's nice to see people when they show. It's lovely. Wait, did Fernie comment on the... Oh, Fernie, you finally watched the video. Thank you. I just saw your comment. Thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate it.
What are we going to talk about today?
All sorts, really, but like
up and down.
But if there's anything you want to cover in particular, we can definitely talk about that for sure. Yeah, like because I remember the last time you came here. I think we ended up like talking about there was one part where like Mary just went like on about something for ages, which was quite interesting. I can't remember what it was about now though. It was like about more than a year ago, man. Like when we did this. So funny. So about your not so secret Yu-Gi-Oh hobby and stuff like that.
I have recently been asked to download the Yu-Gi-Oh mobile app to join my friends in one of those. It's like Pokemon Go, it seems, but you like walk up to people and like you challenge them to a duel. That has been an interesting conversation I've had to have with a couple people and then tell them I refuse because no, I'm not doing another Pokemon Go this year. That's so many hours.
When are we starting the thing? By the way, like I guess
I'm good in a second.
Whenever. Yeah, let me get water and yeah.
That's good.
Keep our guests comfortable, please.
I'm looking for so high energy today. I hope you guys don't mind.
No, it's totally
that's
fine.
fine. That's
Totally
alright.
fine, bud. Hey, geek boy. I've been seeing a lot of the recent uploads. Really like the Virgin and Chad one. Kaz showed me that like 2 seconds ago. It's actually quite funny. I really I like the Felix one, the one where he's like a god of the god of IKEA. That was quite funny.
Yeah. we've been having fun.
That's good. That's what everyone needs this year, I think, especially.
Yes. I think so too.
Well, day 168 of my ex-wife leaving me. Wow, that's deep.
It's a Basil thing. Ignore him. Basil's always like that.
Yeah, no. This is a little bit of like a real, like weird catch-22. Like if you say he's always like that, maybe that's why the ex-wife left him.
Oh, God. Don't catch
I am so sorry. We do not really know each other. It just came out. It could be.
It's completely fine. I will take responsibility.
Okay, like
ready?
We can start. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Ready or not? I'm changing the scene. Okay. All right, everyone. Hi. After like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Don't be mad. Welcome to episode 42 of the Webcomics Hubcast. And today we're joined by Merryweather. Say hi, Mary, if you don't mind.
Hi everyone. How are you? I hope you're all doing good. Yes.
It's wonderful to have you on. And the usual people are here as always. Me, loud and proud, and Kaz. Say hi, Kaz. Tell him hi.
Hi, Kaz. Wait,
what?
You said say hi, Kaz. So I'm literally being hi, Kaz.
Oh my God, please. Don't give me that.
Yes, see, unlike Nen here, right? The both of us are at a different energy level because, well, it is also silly o'clock for Merry, and he is a very, very, very busy lad, which we will touch on later. And then there is myself, who is awake at 7:45 on a Sunday morning.
Hey, look, it's half past. It's 1 a.m. here. I'm just high energy all the time. You gotta down monster energies like in Death Stranding, which is a game that I've been thinking about playing lately. But that's an irrelevant.
I don't know, Mary. Have you ever gotten the chance to play Death Stranding? I know you're quite the epic gamer type.
I bought it.
You've just not sunk the hours.
That's one step. That's one step.
I've yet to have started.
I've been thinking about buying it, and I keep watching other people play it because I'm just like, I don't have time to play this game.
Yeah, I don't know, Mary. Like how many games like have gotten, and then just like I do not have the time to play them because
the way I have fun is I just like look through the store and then I buy the game and download it, and then I imagine in my head someday I'll be able to play this.
Oh God,
that's so real. That's so real in my soul.
I feel like so attacked.
That never happens.
I like really, really feel attacked by that now.
I have never felt so attacked in my life. Dear God.
Context, guys. Like we last had a show with Mary about was it about a couple of years?
About a
year to about 2 years ago, and obviously like when we had like different like display layout and the like that, and so it is nice to get Mary back, although obviously because life and things we are all there's been a lot of changes since, and poor boy here is a little bit like wiped out, so be nice to him, guys. Show him all your love and support. That'll be great. Before we Before we start gently grilling our guy, though, we definitely have like a bit of interesting sort of like news / stuff on the grapevine we want to cover, though. Which I think Mary might want to weigh in. Which, I mean, if so relevant. But yeah, and then like, what did you want to bring up at first?
Well, I mean, one of the ones I wanted to bring up. It's a minor, almost meaningless thing, but I think it's very funny. I think around the contest ending date, which is like 31st of July or something. I don't think.
Yes. So you guys, y'all remember that the contest like winners announcement date for the Webtoon short story contest was supposed to be on the 31st of July on Pacific Standard Time. They were supposed to announce that. Now somehow people then noticed that, hey, there was no announcement that came out, and then, hey, hang on a minute, the announcement date just quietly changed.
Yeah,
so
they changed it a few days before the day. I noticed.
No, the actual day.
Was it on the
actual
day?
day?
To be fair, it was midnight my time, and I was just messing around, so I wouldn't have known if it was the 31st or the 30th. So that's on me.
Yes. So they changed it, and then official statement, if you want to pop it up on the screen somewhere, was something along the lines of that they were taking like their time to read every entry or something like that. I can't remember.
I didn't even see the official statement. I saw the change, and I've not looked for it. You know what? It's fine. I'll take your word for it. But the official statement is they want to read through more of it and get more information. That makes sense. They would to make sure they're making the right decision. That makes sense. I mean, like from what I understand about a lot of these bigger aggregate companies, they might be big, but if the people at Macroverse I spoke to, or the guys at Global Comics, or the guys at Tapas I spoke to have anything to say, their staff is not a lot of people. Like even Tapas has 40 people tops. That's not a lot of people. Like as someone who works in a school, just to keep a functioning environment there, I need like at least 100 members of staff for 800 kids. So it's very, if your company's running at 40 people, that's not a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, 40 people depending on the nature of the company, but for something like Webtoon, it's a bit hard to say that it's a lot of people.
Yeah. It is. I find it to be quite amusing, though. I hope they're fine, because I hope it's not Corona that did anything or anything,
Yeah.
But I still think it's funny. I'm sorry.
What's funny about what's funny?
I just think it's funny that it didn't come out on time, because I think a lot of the people that I was hanging out with at the time when we found that out were all antsy about the announcement.
Yeah,
they were refreshing.
Would you like to hear why I think delaying the announcement is a good sign?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if they really wanted to just get it out of the way, they could easily just name they could pick the people from the top 20 that just skim the comics real quick and then announce those winners. The fact that they delayed it proves they intend to do it properly.
That's good. I think that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah, it's a very good one. I mean, was there any other speculation among your friends about why we think the announcement's been delayed?
I mean, okay. I don't know if I can talk about this. Can I talk about this?
Yeah. I mean, no. Taking more time to dig through entries is always a plus. Yeah, especially I don't know how the situation is at Webtoon with COVID, but I do know that they are in California, which is one of the worst hit states for it. So I would imagine that everyone is remote working, everyone.
I mean, it's not. It wouldn't be unusual. Most people here are remote working. Most places that I know are currently remote working. So it makes sense. There are random things. There are random things I heard here and there, but I don't know if they've really affected anything. So I don't know. I think
it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Kaz, anyway, now that we've covered that bit, Kaz, I wanted to tell you something, and also Mary. I don't know how much you know about this. So I recently got very interested in webcomic companies.
Uh-huh.
Like, you know, like companies like so you know, like The Gamer.
The gamer. Oh yeah, that
man.
webtoon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's made by a company, so it's a bunch of it's funded and everything. And I think Webtoon, I think not Webtoon, I think Daum, I might be, owns them partially. And like I realized that also Webtoon owns a bunch of like little webcomic companies that are just pump out content for their. I say pump out. That's crude. They put.
Wait, it's done by a company?
Yeah, it's the Golden Factory is like. I mean, now it's a company at least. It's a bunch of people. There's a salary. I think there's a leader of content and everything.
Wow, sounds so interesting.
It's just
That's actually really interesting because I actually like when you look at the obviously when you look at the details, it's just there like the names of the writer and the artist.
yeah,
So
and then they put the Golden Factory symbol, and then there's but I've seen a couple of them. The one that I know that is currently on Webtoon England, the English Webtoon site is Steve Aoki, if you know who that is, which I almost didn't. Steve Aoki is an EDM artist, and he's currently making a comic with another company, whose name it was Impact Theory. That's what it was, Impact Theory, and they're posting it on Webtoon. And I managed to speak to one of the colorists who works in their company about like just learning about how they run, how they get funding, and how they got with Steve Aoki and got the deal and stuff. It's been quite interesting to read about. It seems that like it's a small self-funded. It used to be like I think they were doing art and some writing stuff before Corona hit, and then they needed something to do because they weren't shipping any books. And then one of the artists that was doing covers and whatever else he was doing suggested to them to get into webcomics since it might be able to make them money, and they're funding through that right now. In fact, let me just open the listing. He said it's a self-funded thing, and they're trying to be like the people who make like stuff like Solo Leveling and the bigger company, the bigger Korean manhwa. That's what they aim.
Wait, is it the gamer or Solo Leveling at this point? Because
so he just said multiple.
really
There's multiple ones. So like, there's the gamer, the Solo Leveling. There's what you call it? Overgeared.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna take your word for it though, because when I was looking at the English webtoon version, like it doesn't really show like it indicate to me.
It's not on the front page. You have to. They only publish them on Twitter. But if you check Impact Theory, it will come up. I forgot the name already.
No, I'm talking
So
about.
let me get this straight.
Yeah, sure.
There is a company that hires artists and then gets them to draw webtoons.
Yes. And the story.
That's never gonna work. I don't think that works.
You don't think so?
Nah, that's unrealistic.
I think their whole goal is to go with is to make big money by having big names behind their work. So they've got someone who's got a big social media presence. That's how they're pushing this one in English.
It's and the reason why it's funny.
Yeah.
Is because that's literally what I do. You're describing my labor.
Yeah,
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
When you started that statement, I was just like, I know I see the parallels, but I don't know what they're doing differently. I don't know what exactly they claim to be doing differently. But that's... What
did you change your Discord name? It says Rack now. I thought you were named Nen.
Oh, I'm Nen. It was because we were watching Tower of God.
Yeah, so the thing is, right, Nen is really known for changing his Discord name all the time, but we digress. So, yeah, like I guess on a related note, I think we need to talk about, yes, I mean, Mary has brought us up into like the right topic about, yes, this is a very interesting business model these days when it comes to comic production.
Yeah.
I know, you laugh what guys. Plus you know the amount of like quote unquote flack that has been hurled his way for it. Yes. So, Darren. Oh my God, Mary is my idol. Say hi, Mary. Here's
hello. Hello there, friend.
Yeah, that's pretty cute. But yeah, so essentially, this Steve Aoki thing, that's kind of interesting.
Oh, it seems Fernie saying refund high school. is also made by a company
Yeah.
called Lyco.
Okay, Lyco, yeah, I did realize that Lyco is, I think Lyco was a studio, like, kind of set up by Naver, so the Korean side of things.
Yeah.
I don't know about the gamer at Solo Leveling, but now that I think about it, since Webtoon is a mature industry in Korea, like, it only makes sense that some of these things have been, some of these, like, structures have been set up, but, you know, people... I get a little bit antsy about this, by the way, because like people keep like romanticizing the whole. It's got to be a one man show, you know.
I know, right? But I mean, the way they're pushing, I think the general idea all these companies are trying to follow is like they are like, okay, we can procure and acquire like all the talent we need to push this comic out weekly without killing one artist or anything. Is their idea. And like that's and they think if we do this regularly enough, we can pretty much pull all the revenue, but we can also put out like more comics because we can consolidate maybe 20 people in one place, and we can put out more comics than the average person can put out, and we can continue to just be at the front page of the website every week, every couple of days. I also just checked. Solo Leveling is being published by D&C Media. Who's owned by Dom, which I was actually quite sure about, but now I know is owned by Dom. They still put it's based on a light novel, so they still put the names, you know, of the light novel artist, and they still put the names of like maybe the lead artist for the webcomic who kind of directs all the art. But yeah, that's kind of how they've that's the whole thing.
So D&C Media is the publisher, right?
Yeah. So they're the ones pushing it out under their Papyrus label. They're owned by Dom, which I know for a fact this comic is owned by Dom.
Okay.
Which also makes it very weird that this comic isn't on Tapastic, because that's also owned by Dom. Daum. I find it so hard to say. How do you say it? Daum? It's Korean. Daum?
Yeah. So, but somehow it's Solo Leveling has what platforms is that on?
It's on Tappy-Tunes. That's their English platform. Tappy-Tunes.
Oh.
Yeah, if I remember correctly. Tappytunes.com.
Okay.
I mean, Mary,
So,
I want to know exactly why you think it won't work, because I'm quite interested. Because you do this, but you do this. You're not right.
No. He's being sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
Of course it'll work. It's what I do.
Okay, no, I was just wondering.
In fact, it works too well that people are giving him shit for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So I totally remember, right? So I mean, I'm so sorry to make you relive it, but this is the kind of thing where like people just go, yeah, but why don't you credit your artists in this sort of thing? And then when you look at Refund High School, you don't really see like separate credit as much. Like, okay, Refund High School, yes, I think you do see one or two separate credits, but then Lyco is the one that you usually remember more of. So yeah.
On the topic of like the separating credit, I know as someone who like has seen the work that Mary's put out, I know for a fact that like he's not running around claiming any credit. On Twitter, he credits the people who put his work up. So it's very weird to me when people act like that. I just think those people are strange and kind of dumb.
I mean, in a weird way, I can see. So the problem we ran into and we've been running into for a while, still trying to find kind of a perfect solution to it, although we're getting there, is the fact that Twitter doesn't really function like most of the social medias. Twitter has something in common with Facebook, and it is that the text accompanying the post is front and center. And when that's a thing, the algorithm does some weird things. For an example, if you post a tweet and include a link, that tweet will automatically be demoted in the search algorithm, because Twitter wants people to stay on Twitter. Surprise, right? They want people to consume content on Twitter. They don't want them to go off Twitter. Now, that's a thing. An unfortunate side effect of that, for some reason, adding, that is to say, tagging directly in the tweet any person will immediately demote the tweet's engagements. Like saying, like even including anyone, like saying I did a comic with at
this
catastrophe.
Yeah.
It's going to demote the post and get it almost 3 times as less engagement as it would have. So a lot of people. So the immediate solution I found was to just tag the artist. The artist is gonna get all of the notifications, and people can just click the artist right below the comic.
Yeah.
So the problem is, I've had a few people on Twitter kind of yell at me for a while. It happens like once every 6 months or something. I'll have some person who make a tweet or something trying to claim that I had one person say that what I did, which is hire artists, work with them, and then I get more popular, that this was akin to modern day slavery. I'm not kidding.
Yes, I believe I had the receipts, right? Like
yes, Cass has seen it.
I have
Literally equivalent to modern day slavery. The fact that I hire an artist and then work with them and post what we created, that is akin to modern day slavery to them. It's not that I can't see the logic in it. What they see is just me posting comics and getting a lot of followers. What they don't realize is the Twitter's not really the main thing. On the Webtoons and on the everywhere where, like on the Webtoon, which is the main place where we publish, and the YouTube, you will see credits. And the reason why you see credits is because there's no reason to suspect that this is not the original content.
Yeah.
If I post a tweet where it says, artwork by this person, then the tweet gets almost no engagement from the Twitter algorithm at first. Also, or engagement from my own followers, because when they see it on their timeline, they're going to think it's some sort of repost.
And here's the thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, right, even on Webtoon, like most people get it, but then some people also go on Webtoon and they just assume that Mary does all the things as well. It's like, oof, can you not brain?
Yeah, so I went to Los Angeles Comic Con with and for the Webtoon event there. There was a little signing event that I got to participate in where people got in a line and went up to get a poster of Winter Moon signed by me. And even though Winter Moon has both me and the artist Mayuri's name up on there, you can see both our names equally. They all assumed that I was the one who drew it. Which is funny.
I just think that most Webtoon readers, like, there's just so little that they understand about like how comicking, like how comic manufacturing works. Because I have spoken to a couple of creators, like Lana EXP, who has also been on the show before. We love you, Lana. If you're hearing this, or if you've gone to sleep, it doesn't matter. You might hear this again. Yes. So she's also mentioned that like. We've also like agreed that people just romanticize the idea of like it's one person doing everything all too much without realizing that that's like one of the most punishing ways to get into comics.
It is ridiculous for people to say it that way. I don't know. I mean, I understand why. Like as he says, he's explained it. I understand why. I guess for me, it's just like it never would make sense to me that like one person would do this much high quality work. So I would have easily assumed that you had like, you know, a ton of help, obviously, and that's normal. That's what part of what creation is. So it's a bit. I wish people could like, I don't know. I wish people could disconnect themselves from that unnecessary idea of the ideal. The idea there's one ideal creator and who's doing everything. I'm like, no, it's a person with a bunch of backing, and that's normal and that's good. That's healthy for the industry, and like you should be able to encourage, like, you know, be able to engage with that. Like, I don't know.
Something that annoyed me a lot when some people start to be like, it's happened again. It happens like once every 6 months to a year or something. Like someone finds out, oh my god, he doesn't draw any of his comics, and then they realize that, and then they just go berserk. And be like, whoa, you're basically just reposting other people's content. That's kind of the feeling they get. And it really annoys me. Like, whenever that happens, I just go all in and start, like, arguing with them almost. I don't argue. I try make them see things from my perspective, but it's a little hard because they kind of set in their opinion at that point. I try to explain to them that what they thought is still true. I still am the one writing and directing. There's a reason why they thought that I drew all of them. They clearly have something in common, even though they all, like many of them, have such drastically different art styles. They still assumed I drew all of it. That must mean that there's some sort of like common denominator between all of them. It's like they assumed that I had no hand in creating it, that I wasn't the person who went out and said, hey, let's make a comic about internet browsers as anime girls, and then I fucking, sorry for swearing, and then I funded it with my own money, took the risk, wrote all of the scripts, helped design the characters, and then me and my friend rolled it out, which is me and Hinghoy. It annoys me so much that they think that that's just not, that I'm not the one who actually did put the project together, which I did.
Speaking about things that annoy you, like I'm just looking at the comments right now and misconceptions. And here's what Darren here said Mary's a great writer and it's freaking rich. The great writer thing, we can see that you've got quite a lot, people recognize your stuff. Freaking rich. Would you like to address whether that is a truth or not?
Oh, well, I think thank you, Darren. I don't think they meant rich as in like monetary. I think they meant like rich as in, I don't know. I think they meant rich as in good. I don't know how they meant it, but the phrasing seems a little off. I don't think they meant rich as in monetary, but I can kind of clarify that I'm not that rich. Like if you, a lot of people assume that because they see like 15K on my Patreon, that they assume that's what I get. And I really don't. Here's the funny fact. On the Patreon, I get none of that. 0% is mine. It's all artist wages. Mm-hmm. My personal pay comes from my Webtoon featured series.
Mm-hmm. Even then, the artists get some of that, isn't it? Because they're the ones.
Yeah. Mayuri and Peach get a good amount of that. Depending on how you calculate it, we're about equal in terms of how much we get it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then also like some of it, some of your personal pay also like goes towards funding like new comics just because.
Yeah. Some of a lot of my personal pay does go towards business expenses like funding new comics and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's not. I guess. If you wanted to, you could save it and buy your baller Lamborghini and get a driver for it. But but otherwise.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm fine. We also just got.
The dogs are
really excited. Yeah, we got things registered properly in another country, which is Japan. So things should start moving forward, and we can get an office, and it's going to be very exciting. Yes.
It must be a really exciting, good time of your career right now. Really.
Yeah, things are good.
Yeah.
I think what's amusing, right, is that when we last spoke with Mary on this show, it was still pretty much like one dude trying to coordinate like a bunch of different artists, and then now, right, the experience is that he's got like, oh, I accidentally a company. Is this bad? Is this very good?
Yeah, I do have that line that I accidentally a company. One time I did realize that I basically just have a company. That was kind of weird. It just kind of grew on its own.
When you put in the time really, and you get that little bit of luck plus that lots of hard work, everything kind of just comes together,
I really didn't want to call it a company for a long time. I didn't want it to feel like a company because it's like, I remember back when I was a little younger, a lot of like people would like try to start companies, like nerdy people like me around the like anime community of Denmark. They try to start like companies, and these companies wouldn't last, and it was like just a bunch of childish people getting together and doing a little bit of work and then all quitting at the same time. I always didn't. It seemed pretentious to me to call something a company. For that reason, I didn't want to seem like I was pretentious. Something happened to me a few days ago. Rather, I believe, yesterday actually. So I got recognized in real life for the first time.
Ooh. Well, I mean, for posterity, the Merryweatherey's face is on the YouTube channel on his video.
How did that feel?
Well, it was they recognized me from Noble's video, Lost Pause.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't. It took me very, very by surprise because I was at a little tournament, a little card game thing in my local city, and I usually go there on Fridays just to relax and play a little bit with some of my friends, just to wind down a little bit. So one guy suddenly looked at me, and I was like, I was in the middle of chatting with my friend, and one guy suddenly looked at me, and then he goes like, "Aren't you Merryweather?" And I didn't know what to respond to him.
For what?
I mean, it must be like a big shock. Like, it's one of those things you don't expect to be recognized.
I don't even think I like really realized that he had recognized me from any. I thought he just like heard me talk about it at one point in the past or something. I don't think I'd registered for me. The only thing I could say was like, no, and then I walked away. Which is it's technically not a lie. I'm not Merryweather right now. I'm playing cards.
It is true, like
these are two different people. And
that's great. This is the first time I'm hearing of it, by the way.
But he kept following me.
Okay, no, that's no longer.
Okay,
Well, I mean, it's not like it wasn't like in public or anything.
Okay.
It was like in a little. It was like this little. He was also participating in the tournament, so it wasn't that weird.
Wasn't that okay?
So, but yeah, like he like followed me around the little tournament area a little bit. It was very cramped anyway, so there wasn't a lot of room to begin with. He like said, "Oh, I'm sorry if I put you on the spot." I'm like, "It's fine, man. It's all right." And just just kept walking away. And then he goes like, I saw your Nobles channel. I could recognize you by the beard." And I'm like, "That's not me." And and then he said like, "I just want to ask you like one question." And I'm like, "Okay." I look at him. What's the question? And he's like, "How did you get so good at drawing?"
Yeah, we're totally clipping this moment, by the way.
And I just like looked at him and I said, "I can't draw." And he said like, "Haha, yeah, right." And then I just walked away again. And then I found out like afterwards, he just asked one of my other friends and he just straight up told him, "Yeah, that's him."
Oh my god.
You got outed by your friends.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little funny, but I didn't know what to say. It took me so by surprise. Had no clue. But that happened.
So it's the first time, right?
Yeah, like I told Noble about it afterwards, and he was like, "Yeah, man, see." And I was like, I didn't like it. I wasn't ready for it.
Isn't that why people are VTubers?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we need a Merry VTuber model, like
a 3D. What's it called again? What's that app called that does the facial?
Live 2D.
Yeah, Live 2D. And the other one that like sees your face and like moves it.
Yeah, face reg and
face
stuff.
Reg. Yeah, face reg. Like Mary's
okay.
3D.
Let's dip back to the chat. So Tariel Sky is asking, what requirements do you look for in an artist?
These days, they gotta be veterans. Like,
Yeah.
I already have more artists than I have scripts. So I've actually dealt with this recently. I had a person who tried to recommend me an artist and tried to kind of introduce an artist on me, and I don't know. I should have probably said no faster, but I was busy with other things, so I just kind of try to push it off on Casa.
Yeah, I was like around at the time, and I was just like, I don't really understand what was going on. I thought that we were actually going to bring someone on, but I had to realize that Mary was not really keen on the idea because of whatever reason that was mentioned, which was more artists and scripts, and not enough time to coordinate them as well. Full disclosure, I also do work pretty closely with Mary. I've managed a couple of his artists, some of the projects, the dubbing side of things, and also the recent. I mean, if you've been looking at the recent chat for the comics that Mary's been posting up, I actually rewrote some of like the dialogue in there as well.
Yeah.
So things like that. But yes, so
So a lot of the time, if you read some of my comics, Casa is like second draft writer on a lot of them. Yeah. So yeah, like I just these days I look for. It's really hard to kind of quantify and explain, but there's a certain way you can tell if an artist is more like an illustrator, or if they have the flexibility required to draw a comic. Even if a person's good at drawing a picture, good at drawing an illustration of a character doing one thing, that rarely means that they actually have the capability of doing comics, because doing comics is a bunch of different things that all require like different things. You gotta have a different level of understanding about perspective and things like that, which is not usually super obvious in illustrations.
And
it's
like
really
that,
hard to, yeah.
And then you have to I think you have to be better at expressions and stuff, because not a lot of illustrations are really like good at that sort of thing.
Yeah, it really takes it really takes a long time working with artists to really begin like seeing the patterns of an artist who would be good at drawing manga, rather comics, and an artist who should probably stick to illustrations until they get better. And I usually am able to kind of see, based on how they draw the characters, if they're going to be able to draw. I think it has a lot to do with the sense of depth in the illustration and the perspectives used. Like if you look at an illustrator and you see that most of the characters are drawn from the same perspective over and over again, they have a limited amount of background. The background that they do have is very simple. You're usually going to find that they're not going to be fully experienced enough to be able to draw comics. However,
especially the comic needs like action scene, right?
Yeah, but that's not necessarily like, that's a guideline. You can find artists who turn out to be really good at comics, like Mayui, who is the artist of my biggest thing, which is Winter Moon. She was Winter Moon is her first comic, actually. Like she'd never drawn a comic before Winter Moon, and I think she did really well. There's some problems that we actually had to go back and fix recently, Casa, Carolus, and I, and I just watched. But we had to go back and fix a ton of the typesetting, because she didn't know how to do typesetting, which is very important, and a lot of the SFX and stuff like that. But in terms of the actual drawing, she's always been pretty good at doing the comics. Yeah. So to answer your question without going off on a longer rant, I look for more experienced artists.
Yeah. Mary has come a longer way, so that he can actually command that sort of thing. And from my experience as an editor, I can actually provide a bit more perspective. Comic art, sequential art is the fancy ass name we give for it. It requires a different skill set to illustration. Illustrators spend like ages on a single piece, whereas comic artists, you need to spend just enough time for the art to not look like kind of half-assed, but at the same time, you need to know that people are going to like zoop past the art quite quickly, so you can't spend too long on it either.
Careful.
Okay, so another question, Aoki is asking, why relaunch Succubus Girlfriend? Now, this one is a very interesting history.
Yeah, it's got a lot of history. So, okay, so there were technically 2 relaunches, actually. Technically. So, the artist of the original comic quit after 44 episodes, which is fair. That was kind of, we agreed to do 44 episodes somewhere along the line, and he drew all of them, and then he decided to go back to his own job. He was Japanese, and he had a publishing thing next to it. So after Succubus Girlfriend was finished, I had already, like, it had an ending. It was just a slightly rushed ending. I didn't really super like it a lot, but it was an ending. It did feel like the plot points did close. But then I decided I'm gonna do season 2, because at the time it was like my most popular Canvas comic. Canvas is like the free publishing part of Webtoon. It had like 500,000 subscribers at the time, and I thought to myself, I mean, why don't I just get a new artist to draw season 2? So I did that. So I used the artist I had been using for my Fox Girls Are Better, Carolus, which is Cass's boyfriend.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Sorry, I was kind of.
That's alright. That's alright.
But he's drawn like public art of it, so I think it's gonna be fine. Sorry.
Yes, I know.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. So I used him, and we did a little bit for a while. Some of the chapters were fine. Some of the chapters were a little bit a little bit shoddily drawn, and it was just it really wasn't his thing. Like, it was not the type of thing he really wanted to draw. It drew on a lot of things he didn't really like. He was able to draw a lot of it like relatively well. I don't think he liked it very much.
I mean, at the same time though, like the response to having a season 2 with different artists was not great, even though even in the early stages, people were really nice about it, in my opinion.
So a lot of people were very upset about the artist change. At the same time, Kari was not used to drawing the types of things that was required for like a heaven and hell, angels versus demons type of story. He didn't like it, had to draw wings, which he later told me he hates drawing wings. Yeah, like just a bunch of things. And then at some point I started noticing that the art was getting worse. I didn't like that a lot. So I think like at a certain point, I just stopped sending him more scripts, and we started doing like more Fox Girls Are Better, and I just kind of let it slide. I just chose not to think about it for a long time, and at the end of that, it had been like several months since there'd ever been a chapter of Succubus Girlfriend, and people were like constantly messaging me about it. Like every few days someone was asking about it, and I was just trying to be like, can you guys just forget it existed, because I don't want to deal with it right now. I'm doing other things. So at the end of it, I just kind of decided, okay, I'm just going to explain you guys what happened. I explained it to them. I kind of like made it clear to them that they are probably going to see something about it, but it's probably going to be a reboot. So I explained the whole story, explained why we're not doing it anymore, and then explained we're going to be doing a full reboot when it's that time. And yeah.
Yes.
So
I think Saka's gone through quite a few, quite a lot of like harrowing in incidents anyway. So
now it's a new artist doing it, which is Joachim Waller. Joachim Waller is the first artist I ever met who agreed to do a story of mine. That's a whole other story. I think I told it at one point in the podcast. And
on YouTube you did. So the Steam Dragon Express, the original version was done by Joachim. So
So Joachim is really good artist. He's used to doing like volumes of manga. So a comic like Succubus Girlfriend is not a big deal to him. Like he's able to do it with really detailed coloring and stuff. So that's why it's been rebooted, so we can actually do it. Also, there's a bunch of plot holes and a bunch of like things. Also, I couldn't monetize the last one because it had too much fan service. It's just a bunch of things. Yeah, go read the new one. It's basically as good, and we actually managed to have like the bad word in it without it getting demonetized.
Yeah, no, I think right. Like, for me personally, I just prefer the aesthetic of the new one over the old one.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, and it's definitely like more solid, I think.
Yeah, I think it's got very, very good detailed coloring, which the old one didn't have actually. It's got very good backgrounds and stuff. It's very competently made because Joachim is a very competent artist who's been doing comics for like 16 years or something. So go check it out. But the only thing is he's got a little bit of a retro art style. Like you can tell sometimes it's like early Shonen Jump.
Oh wait, the current version?
No, Joachim.
Oh yeah, that's the current version. Like
the current version. Yeah.
It's all right. Like I mean, I think if I hadn't realized like who it was, like I might have thought that it was an actual like Japanese production. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean,
did you revise anything like of the script?
Well, we've yet to get to the point where the revising happens, but after 1 or 2 more chapters, you're gonna start to see things. Like I basically replaced the other heroine with a new character, and the story is gonna be very different because after the current thing, after the introduction happens, it's like a bunch of slice of life / fan service episodes in a row. Which we can't really do like this anymore. So it's going to be a little different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a bit more developed then.
Yeah, and a lot of the dialogue is kind of fixed up, and some of the parts are extended a little bit and stuff. It's mostly like that.
Okay. Like, very. So say thanks for context.
One last question. So before we go into the next topic, someone asked, what was the one project you really wanted to do but never had time to develop? Actually, that's quite
that's a good question.
I feel like
project I really wanted to do but never had time to develop.
Yeah, it's a comic.
Oh yeah, it was. It's a comic about it's a city. It's just like a spire, a massive spire, which is a city, like a Tower of Babel, where the city is inside the tower, and then outside the city, there's a large amount of like dragons. Like there's no way to have anything, like to travel outside of the spire, except if you're like in a really big party of people with like swords and shields and stuff. And then there's like, magic is outlawed in the city, so there's this secret society of people who use magic and stuff, and a lot of conspiracies going on. And I really wanted to do that one. The problem is it requires a really, really good fantasy illustrator, and I was never really able to do that one. Another one is the Steam Dragon Express. I really wish I could have developed that world more. I really wish I could have continued that comic. Unfortunately, I think it was just not the thing the artist wanted to do. Like, he'd been doing it for a year at that point. Honestly, I should have, like, if I'd been a little bit better, like picking up on the fact that he probably intended to quit after our contract had renewed one time, I think I could have made a better ending for it.
Yeah.
A lot of the Steam Dragon Express is spent building up things and setting up things that never ever resolve. Yeah.
I think you need that advance notice to actually know like how to wrap things up.
Nice.
I mean, it had an ending. It had a villain. It had a little thing. You can read it and you'll get an ending. It's not a particularly satisfying ending, but it's an ending that works.
That's fair enough. I mean, I think it's kind of on a creative level for a lot of people who haven't I would say gotten to the point where you are, to know that even you have a white whale that you want to catch eventually.
Yeah.
It probably makes them feel a lot more like, I can do this if I just keep on putting some more time into it. I think that's a great thing. I
have this thing I really, really want to do so goddamn badly. It's just hire an artist, like a really good artist, like insanely high quality artist, right? Like a fantasy painter. And then I want them to draw a comic where each and every single panel is so well made that it looks like an illustration of its own. Like something that's extremely well made in terms of the art style. And just like make it really short per episode.
Yeah.
And then, but whenever I get in contact with one of these artists, I'm thinking like, okay, so I'll give myself a budget. I'll make a budget of like $4,000 a month.
Wow, that's quite a healthy budget.
The problem is it always ends up exceeding that because these types of artists are in demand and they are also very expensive, and getting them to actually do another thing that's really funny when you deal with artists who are not used to pricing based on comics but pricing based on illustrations, you can run into the issue of an artist asking for $500 per panel, and if one episode has like 4 panels, only 4 panels, you end up on $2,000 right there.
$2,000
and then
per episode.
Yeah, $2,000. And then you end up on $8,000 a month just to do 4 panels a week. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to do it still, but I don't have too much hope for it.
Would you consider an epilogue / side stories for Steam Dragon Express? That's it.
I have considered it, but I'm like, I kind of feel the same way as I did when I was, if anyone remembers The Crawling City.
Yeah.
It's an old comic of mine. I actually had the opportunity to write 4 extra chapters and then end it. Like make an ending for that series. I had that opportunity. The artist was willing to do it, even though we had quit the project. It fell apart. He was willing to do 4 more chapters. It was like a year later or something. And I had to think to myself, do I want to make 4 panels and spend my ideas on 4, on 4 episodes per, like, of 4 panels per episode to end the story, or do I want to use those ideas on one of my newer stories instead?
That's fair enough.
And in the end, I just decided not to dig up the corpse, and just decided to like move on and do the ideas I had for an ending of that. I used them on Crawling Dreams instead of Crawling City. So yeah,
I think that's a very poignant thing to think about, especially now in the industry with a lot of shows and stuff being brought back, a lot of content from the past being brought back. It's a lot. I think for a lot of creators, I think they think about their work and they think, oh, I can always go back and look at it and do something more. I think it's nice that something just get left, and then you can do something even more interesting like 5 years later or a year later, which is
maybe because some people think that I can always look back at it, but then they end up like falling to some of the old habits that they have supposedly moved on from and grown from as a creator. So yeah, it's a little bit of a catch-22 because yes, you do have an existing audience, so it's a guaranteed like sell, quote unquote. But at the same time, it's like I don't know.
That's fair enough. Okay, we won't take the next question, but I want to ask you something, Mary. I don't know if you've seen this tweet, the tweet that I would say for like 4 days kind of blew our Twitter up for a bit. If you don't mind me just displaying that, it's a tweet from Alexandria Neonakis, who works at Naughty Dog.
At Naughty Dog.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think I really liked what she said. I don't know what your opinion is on it, but it would be nice to know. She says, some of you are going to get real angry about this and will likely twist it. But the reason some of you aren't being commissioned or noticed is because your skills aren't what they need to be. And that's normal and fine. We all start somewhere, but social media has created this bizarre expectation that people with a higher following should be doing something to help you. There's also more stuff. But yeah, I don't know how you feel about those comments.
I mean, honestly, in a way, I can kind of see where she's getting at, because, all right, so something I've realized a lot is that there's this like artist solidarity that's going on. Artist solidarity, good on principle. There are a lot of people on the internet who are going to try and take advantage of artists, try and scam them out of commissions, try and lowball them. I've seen, like, we all see those examples. Like, there's a whole account you can follow for exposure. Yeah.
It makes my blood all the time.
Where it's basically just people like harassing / insulting artists to get free commissions and stuff, and it's really bad. But yeah, as it happens when a group of people are kind of targeted in this way because people want something from artists, almost everyone can think of something they want customly drawn from artists. And because of that, artists feel the solidarity with each other to kind of ward off the enemies in a weird way. And I feel that a lot of the time there's this as an example, do you guys know Butch Hartman?
Yeah. Oh, that's
so
kind of worms.
Butch Hartman's been doing hi Carolus. Butch Hartman's been doing commissions, and he's taking like $200 a month to do something like like a little scribble or something. I don't know. He's a celebrity. Yeah, I guess he's like, well, I've seen people like line up in a huge line to get a $50 signature from some Hollywood actor or something. I've seen that happen before. So honestly, it doesn't surprise me that much that a little custom illustration from a popular, well-known cartoonist is going to bring you up a lot in terms of how much it's going to cost you. What did worry me a little bit, or not worry, just like befuddle me a little bit, if that's a word, is that people then started like comparing their prices to Butch Hartman. So a lot of people tried to use it as an opportunity to kind of advertise themselves a little bit. Like someone would say, oh, look at what Butch Hartman gives you for $200. For me, you can get that for $50 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
In a counter movement, a lot of big artists or medium level artists started like making this whole movement where they tried to get people to raise their prices. And that was a little, I'm still kind of thinking about that because I'm not sure if that's actually a good or a bad thing.
That feels like a weird, like, because
it's a double-edged sword, I think.
Yeah,
it is, yeah.
Butch gets to charge what he charges because he's made countless shows that have built up. Like, he's basically charging on nostalgia.
Yeah.
That's it. He's
and
charging.
And you're also paying for the name a bit. You're paying for the name a bit, yeah.
I can see the issue of people. I can see how people would think that them at like some person undercharging for an illustration that they could be doing and then taking that amount of money is going to create some problems because it sets an industry standard. If enough people do it, that artwork is only worth this much. I actually don't think it's that simple. I actually don't think it works that way.
Oh, definitely.
I think if an artist starts doing like a lot of commissions for really, really low amount of money, I think they're naturally going to see that they're going to get more commissions than they can handle. Then they raise their price to meet the demand, so that that's usually like demand versus price kind of thing.
Yes, it's a supply demand thing. Like you can only
supply and demand. Yeah.
And they can do less commissions for the same amount of money, if not more.
And an artist who does really cheap commissions is obviously not going to have as much time, because other people are going to want commissions from them, and then they'll need, if they want something quicker, they're going to have to go to someone else. It's like that whole I think it's an engineering thing, gotta correct me if I'm wrong, Cass. It's a whole thing where like you can choose two cheap, fast, or good quality.
Yeah.
It's like that. And like no matter which two you choose, someone else is going to have the third one. And they're going to outcompete you. That's kind of how the economy works. And yeah. It's quite... At least the market.
Yeah. I think with art, like that's... it's fine to start with low rates. I mean, try to learn about generally what is a regular rate for your work by consulting multiple people. But like, you start with low rates, you get a bunch of commissions, it starts getting too much. You're now in demand. It's okay to upcharge.
Yeah. So what I've seen a lot is artists kind of like pressuring each other to raise their prices, because they think that if all prices raise, then everyone's going to get paid better, which... I don't know. I don't think it's that simple.
That doesn't work.
So here's the thing. I want to provide like a counterpoint that not good enough doesn't exactly mean just your art skill. It also means like how you are with carrying yourself online, offline, socially, all that kind of stuff, for people to notice your stuff.
Yeah.
People seem to think that if I post regularly on social media, that's gonna grow my follower count over time, and that's just it. And it's like you can't just like only post on social media or whatever galleries without taking the time to engage with other people get to know them.
Yeah, there's a lot of steps to the social media game, and in fact one of the key ones is luck. And like if you've already got like you need that luck on social media, but you've also got to be like have to have a community, have people who follow you that like support your posts. You've also got to be putting out content that people want to see. Like it's a lot of stuff, and no one knows the full answer to any of this shit. But like I don't know. It's just. Sorry. This is me reaching my like computer science. I'm quite annoyed at the fact that people keep thinking that there is some predictability to algorithms shit. Like there isn't. There are a few things that help, but like algorithms aren't people. They don't sit down and go, well, this has ticked all the boxes, therefore I must treat it as the best quality material. Regularly. It's just frustrating.
If you trial and error it enough, you can make educated guesses. But the algorithm can change. Like you don't know what's gonna happen.
It's not. Oh my god! Please, people, don't do this to yourself. The algorithm isn't. You're not playing it if you get one post that gets 10,000 likes. Unless you can regularly do that, and even then, it's not even guaranteed. Like my god.
Honestly, most of the time it just requires an inhuman amount of dedication.
Yeah.
Like just time and dedication is the key to every single thing. And you're not going to make it a lot of money for like years and then suddenly you're going to make it big. That's usually how it happens. If
you're in comics to make like, quick money, stop right now. That is not how it works. That's really not how it works.
Yeah.
Mike's asking, is that really a thing? Is what specifically really a thing? I'm not quite sure I understand.
I honestly think if you want to do comics and you want to do it, I think you should do it for the pure love of doing it, because that's the only way you're going to have the dedication to actually go through with all of it.
Yeah, there are like 5 jobs personally that I always tell people that if you're going to put your time into this, you better love it, because it doesn't pay well and it's very fucking depressing sometimes. And 2 of them are game design and comic making. Like, just no.
Yeah. I mean, comics can make well. It's just not really something that you're going to experience for a very long time, even if you start today.
Yeah, and the thing is, right, I think some people, like, I mean, like there's some jobs that yes, maybe you go and do like a bit of like study and like degree time and all that, and then you can get hired right out the gate. Comics is not one of them. Art in general, I find, is not really one of them, unless you're willing. I mean, and it is quite a danger to maybe like taking commissions right out of the gate when you're like in your early growth stage, because and this is something I know that Carlos shares as a viewpoint, that you start hamstringing yourself because you're too busy trying to meet commission demand and not spending enough time on self-development.
And not to mention,
as an artist,
because you're trying to keep up with the commissions, the art style that makes it quickest is probably the one you're going to stick to for a while, because you got to make it through all those commissions this week or for whatever amount of time. So you kind of just end up in a rut.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know about like a lot of other people. Like I'm sure everyone has a different opinion on this, but it's just I personally find that a rut is the most depressing place to be if you ever do anything creative. Yeah.
It do happen. Then I go on meme sites and then I look at the memes.
You really do be like that. But then we've always got r/aw.
What's r/r? I'm so sorry.
r/aw is just a subreddit full of like cute crap, and it's so adorable. I love it.
Wow.
I sometimes open it in the middle of the evening and just watch people pick up dogs from baskets or something.
Wow.
It's so cute.
Oh god. Yeah. So
there was someone who asked a question.
Yeah, I want to get to that one. So someone says, you mentioned a couple of projects with the artist, didn't feel the project was in their wheelhouse. Do you have advice on best practice for communicating and working with other creators?
Yeah. So something I've started doing in like the last 2 years or so is when an artist is going to start working with you and when you start working on the project, before deciding what the project is going to be, you ask the artist what they want to draw. So don't go into, which is, I think it's a little hard for like new people because they have like the specific story they want to do. And I've been there. But honestly, I think it's way better to like, because usually you don't have like a Japanese manga artist who can draw almost anything. Usually have a person who's got like a few things they're really good at. And then they're like decent at everything else. And often they even gotta have things that they're really bad at. And if you hit that, then it sucks for you. Your series doesn't really survive very long. So the way I usually do it is I work backwards from the artist. So I start with the artist and then I create a series for the artist. And then we work forward to that. And then what I usually do these days, what I mentioned before, is I like to write one episode, then watch them draw that one episode. And then based on how they do it, I then continue. So I usually do that for a little bit. And then at some point we reach a point where he's done like 3-4 episodes. I've seen what he's good at, seen what he's not so good at. Now I know what to do. Now I know where I got him. Then I give him a whole bunch of episodes.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Does it not like challenge you a bit, like if it's stuff that is a little bit outside your comfort zone writing for, but then again you're not really that fussed about it?
I mean, usually artists are kind of decently okay with storytelling-wise things. Like an artist will usually not be super picky about the story. And if you have like, so the whole thing is like, I don't think the furniture rules matter too much. Like where a story takes place, how it's drawn, how the characters are drawn, they are not necessarily going to have a huge impact on your story. You can still tell your story. It's just a question of how you're going to tell the story. So if an artist is really good at drawing like water and oceans and beaches and palm trees, then why not have the story that you wanted to do take place on a tropical island? If the artist is really good at drawing swords and stuff, then I'm sure you can find a way to incorporate swords into the series. If the artist is really good at drawing girls but not very good at drawing guys, I guess you're doing an all girls school, right? Like there's all sorts of solutions to these things that don't really matter. Like you can do almost any story on an all girls school, even especially in anime. There's no reason why the characters have to be guys. Like you can draw, you can make the same story with girls or guys. It doesn't make a huge difference, to be honest. Maybe a few more clicks if they're girls. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. So one thing I knew about Joachim is that he didn't want to do a Japanese setting for the new My Succubus Girlfriend, because all of his assets, like he's got a bunch of 3D models, and all of his skills come in replicating the Scandinavian style of buildings, Scandinavian classrooms, all of that sort of stuff. So obviously I set it all in Scandinavia this time around.
That's fair enough. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, actually. It's fine to mold a lot of the elements that don't really have any direct effect on your work, to whatever makes the artist's work shine more, because at the end of the day, when everything kind of works in a cohesive meld, you get a lot better product.
Yeah. And if you want to go really hard mode, you get the artist to request the type of story they want to do, and then you write based on that. But that's more for me, who's done so many stories. They all kind of meld into a whole bunch of things. So I'm more willing to give up on the idea of like having to do my dream story right now. I can do another story. I can do what they want. It's not
I think this is a problem with a lot of people who, you pardon me, want to like try out the Merryweather model, because and I call it the Merryweather model because I've seen quite a few like people out there who also they want to be they look at what Mary's doing, like how he's done so many stories with like so many different artists, like I want a piece of that pie too, I want a bit of that action for myself too, and I've got a story. And it's like, but they're kind of like still really attached to that story that they're not really able to like do what you do really.
Yeah, the biggest issue I see with like writers like that is that they, as you mentioned, get too stuck on this one story, and it's so specific and it's so like detailed in the way they want to do it, and usually they don't have the money to get the artist who's going to be able to like fulfill that really well either. So they're ending up in this situation where they got like a really long story, whereas if you look at all of my early stuff, I mean, yeah, there was the time when I was trying to do manga and stuff, but most of my stuff was like really short. That's the best way to start, really.
Yeah, I think it's the same logic that a lot of writers use. Write a bunch of short stories, build up your skills, because again, long stories are like they're an endurance match, aren't they? At the end of the day. Especially with comics, you've got to like keep up with the ever-changing fact that like while you write your story one way, you get to drawing it, you realize that the audience has seen something else, or you've done something weird, or
some years ago, back when I was a much newer creator, I was doing like a few. It was around the time when I was starting to do the short comics, like the 4 panels per episode, full color, which wasn't normal back then, by the way. In like in the art styles, in the Japanese inspired art styles, people were doing manga pages. They were not doing smartphone based colored pages like manhwa, not yet at least.
Okay.
This was before Webtoon came to the West. So back then I saw something which I found to be like, I saw so many people doing this. What they do is they'd write like they'd save up money, and then they commission like 15 pages, like a 15-page chapter, and of a comic. And what they'd spend like $1,000 or something on getting these 15 manga pages, which was a lot for them, obviously, since it took them a while. So they do this, and then instead of writing a good 15-page short story, what they did, which I always feel so sad about, is they wrote the introduction to a really long story. that they're not gonna have the money to finish. They write like an intro introducing like 6 characters, hoping that people are gonna be so bitten by it that they donate enough money that they're capable of making more. And that never happens. It never happened. I've never seen anyone get that far. The only person I ever saw actually managed to make, and she didn't do that. She spent all her money on actually getting the comic drawn. Then she made a Kickstarter. It was like 150 pages. Then she made a Kickstarter to get it printed. And even then, she completely ghosted it. She went inactive. No one ever got their books.
Oh yeah, what was that project again?
It was, I don't remember, I'll show you later, but it was years ago. Yeah. So the artist, she commissioned an artist who I also worked with a little bit, got 150 pages of a manga, got it, made the entire Kickstarter. It was a really well made Kickstarter, got more than her goal. I think she got like $7,000. She was meant to print comics with it, send it out to her backers. She never did it. And the comic is not published. It's out there somewhere. It's on her hard drive or something. It never got released to anyone.
Oh no.
Yeah, I felt really sad about that, to be honest.
That's depressing. I mean, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have a special, like, you know, feeling towards people who go, like, I mean, I'm gonna write like I'm gonna write a long epic, and I'm gonna, like, you know, get that like made and stuff, and I'm just like, no, can you like try something shorter? But I'm biased because I have actually done short stories, and I also see the benefit of short stories, and I've come across someone on Twitter who's like, I just can't do short stories, you know, long it is for me.
But I don't understand why people think like that. I know, like, I don't know. Maybe it's because, like, I've read a bunch of books by writers about how they got started and stuff years ago.
Yeah.
Like, if you read old Stephen King books and then you read like books that criticize Stephen King, which a lot of people do at the same time, it's a lot of like just Stephen King they talk about how Stephen King was writing for like 5 different magazines under multiple pseudonyms, but it was all short story magazines, because at the beginning of your literature career, at the beginning of your writing career, you can only get short story commissions. You know, you can only get people paying you for short stories. It's and it's also like very much what Merryweatherey does in terms of like you write to the, not even you write to the audience, but like in terms of like you write to the publication you're selling to. You know, it's not about what you want to write. It's about knowing how to write different types of genres, different types of stories, learning that like how to work around your setting, etc.
I think it's more a case of just enjoying the general aesthetic and then finding ways to make your writing style work in as many different character styles as possible. Mm-hmm. And then, obviously, then I can be as flexible as I want because I still like the final product.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's not how a lot of like comic creators work, and that's also fine. It's just that you have to get used to the fact that you're not going to find like a mass appeal right away necessarily if you're like holding on to that sort of thing. I'm gonna dip back. I'm gonna dip back to the comments. Jay has been saying, just want to say I was pretty impressed with the ending chapter of the first season of IE and the special chapter after that. It felt like you guys upped the action on canvas super hard. Mary's just like,
Yeah, I'm very tired.
It's okay, buddy.
Oh God, it's all right, buddy. We will be coming to the end of the show, like, you know, soonish. It's been 1.5 hours or so almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I got the last question. Why not? Hey, Mary. So, in 2 weeks, right? We're gonna talk with we're gonna be talking with one of the people who work at Tapas. I wonder, as someone who makes content, do you have any questions for them at all?
No.
Nah, nothing.
I'm a Webtoon creator.
Damn.
You know,
Like the most Chad Merryweather.
That's the Chad
response.
Merryweather versus.
I just no, I don't have any questions for them.
I mean, we can always ask you another time, like for that, like off air and stuff like that, because I think Mary is really really tired, and I think we should let the guy sleep because we should also thank him for staying up for stupid o'clock to do this.
Thanks a lot.
You know,
I'm gonna sleep well soon.
yes, I'm sure you are. Yeah, but I think I mean I think that's all we have time for because I do not want to be responsible for like someone falling asleep in our show, man. I mean, I know we're a chill space, but that's not quite the effect that I want to go for.
No.
All right.
I mean, I'm definitely not as energetic as last time, but thank you for having me on again. It's been wonderful. Got to chat a little bit. Got to answer some questions. And, yes.
Yes. Let me just...
What?
Sorry, that was my alarm going like, hey, like double check your timing.
Right. Well, yeah. So yeah. Thanks for having me on again. Hope to get on again. It's just fun to talk about webcomics and stuff.
It is. I'm
Yeah.
loving the work you've been doing lately, buddy. I appreciate you showing up at this time, especially.
Thank you, big man.
Yep.
Can I plug my YouTube now?
Why not?
Yeah, you can plug all of the things. Plug all of things.
It's Merryweather Comics. Just search Merryweather Comics on YouTube.
Yeah.
Put up a video every single day. Please do watch it.
Yeah, like this is something that Mary's been doing like new since the last time we've met him, and yeah, it's all voiced, guys. Mostly Japanese. Sometimes we do get the odd like English thing going around, but I mean.
And there's a Finnish character on there too.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a Finnish wolf VTuber. Her name is Lumi, and she's a wolf. Ow!
Yes, correct. That is right. All right, guys.
Yeah.
You guys have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your chill show.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
All right. Let's do a sign out. Good.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks a lot for the show tonight. Thanks a lot to Mary for showing up. Appreciate your thing. Usual places, usual things. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks with the VP of Tapas of content at Tapas, which will be quite fun.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that one. I don't want to miss that one.
I don't want to miss that one. Apparently, I need to send him his question list. Yeah, the usual things: Twitter, Discord, Patreon, YouTube. You know where everything is. It's great to see you all here. I've been Nen. She's been Kaz.
I've been Kaz. And we have been really, really tired in some way.
I'm telling you. Usual Twitter at earthbound_m or at Kazastrophe. Good night. Thank you. Goodbye.
See you next time.